What is up, guys? In today's video, we are going to be watching and breaking down Fortnite's new Chapter 7 Season 2 Showdown trailer. This trailer shows off some of the new items and mechanics that we will be seeing in Chapter 7 Season 2. As always, if you guys do find this video to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and comment down below what you think of this trailer. Also, if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and is underneath the webcam at all times. So the first thing we see here is some of the, Fortnite characters approaching the Ice King's mansion, or, his lair, which is going to be a new POI on the map. And this is expected to be kind of replacing the Clawsy Lodge area with this new, Ice King fortress. And in here, we'll see that he has several characters frozen in ice, one of those being the Foundation, which is who the other characters were going to rescue. And he is played by The Rock. This is the battle pass. We have a new jewel skin that my webcam is kind of blocking. We have the Order, the Foundation, the Ice King, and then some other characters that I don't know the name of on the right side. And this is probably one of the big new mechanics. This is going to be rivalries. This plays a big part in the season and the trailer. I expect this to be functioning somewhat like bounties did in the past. So you'll have a rivalry with a player, and then you will need to be hunting them down and eliminating them. And they will likely be marked for you in some way. And you'll probably be marked for them as well, since it's kind of a rivalry. But throughout this trailer, we kind of see different rivalries take place, where it'll show like two players have a rivalry, they fight, and then we move on to the next one. So I think these rivalries are going to be a pseudo bounty that we have in Chapter 7 Season 2. And it's going to be something that kind of makes engagements happen a bit more regularly. So we see the jewel skin and this lady have a bounty with each other. Their rivalry has started, and now they're fighting. And we get a look at the Thunderburst SMG here. This was a weapon in Chapter 5. And it seems like we're going to have several Chapter 5 weapons returning to the loot pool. And you do see that it has a laser sight on it. In actual Chapter 5, the Thunderburst was perfectly accurate when hip firing with the laser. I don't know if that's still the case. You can kind of see the crosshair here. It's not like perfectly accurate, but it is very accurate. And I've also had a lot of people ask, are these weapons going to be projectile or hit scan? We don't really know. During Chapter 5, all the weapons were projectile, but we have had weapons from Chapter 5 come back and be kind of reworked into hit scan weapons. So we had the Enforcer AR this season. We had the Striker Burst Rifle during Chapter 6 that came back. And I think there's been others as well, but those are the ones that are off the top of my head. We've seen them come back and be hit scan, but be kind of reworked. So I think they'll probably be hit scan and just be reworked. We see them fight, and then we get a look at the new Super Shredder shotgun. This is a weapon from Save the World. And we don't really know if it's the exact item it was in Save the World, or they're just kind of reusing the weapon model. But in Save the World, it was like a high range, like pump style shotgun. Which maybe it'll kind of be the case here. She found her rival, which is the Mythic Goldfish back in the game, which has been in Reload for a while, but hasn't really been in BR. Throws the Mythic Goldfish at her, and then this Jules activates the kind of zipline launcher item, where she shoots like a grappling hook type thing out, and then she's able to ride it as a zipline. And this is likely the new mobility item that Ted Timmons mentioned when he was kind of doing his Q&A style thing on Twitter, where he said there would be a mobility item that kind of helps you move an entire team. Seems like this would be that kind of thing. Like you shoot it out and then everyone can ride the zipline together. I don't really know how good of an item this will actually be, though, because the majority of the time, whenever an enemy actually uses a zipline, they are asking to get beamed. But maybe this one, you travel faster than other ziplines, something like that. We don't really know. But as it stands now, I kind of expect this to be a very high-risk item. And then the Jules is actually using the Nemesis AR, which is another weapon from Chapter 5. Again, it was a projectile assault rifle in Chapter 5. But now it's probably going to be hit scan. In the past, this was kind of the lower fire rate, hard-hitting AR. Not quite as much as like extreme as the Enforcer AR. But, on the slower end, on the harder hitting end, the Enforcer was like an extreme example of like slow fire rate, high damage. So this will probably be the heavy AR style weapon of this season. And the Thunderburst was like I didn't explain this earlier and I realized that, but the Thunderburst was like a high fire rate burst SMG that could spam out bursts incredibly quick. And it had very accurate hip fire in Chapter 5, as I touched on. So the burst SMG was incredibly good at most ranges, but it kind of ideal in close and medium. And this was more of like a long range weapon, the Nemesis. And then she eliminates her rival to fall damage, and then you see on screen now it says rival eliminated. And that's kind of why I said these seem like they're going to be bounties. Each time we see a rivalry, they fight, and then it ends when the fight finishes. So these two have a rivalry with each other. And here we see the Rift launcher weapon. It does appear like you need to charge it up. We had a Rift launcher in Chapter 6, Season 2, and people could spam out Rifts pretty much immediately. But this one looks like it needs to be charged up. But he shoots a Rift, slide kicks that shark into it, mantles up. This is the new DMR style weapon that we're going to be having. And then finally, he pulls out the new Dark Voyager shotgun in a moment here. We see Fishstick with a Nemesis AR again, and then this lady with the 7 cluster cannon that we actually saw in the Power Hours. But this is the Dark Voyager shotgun. I've seen people say it's going to be a charge style shotgun. I don't know how true that is. And then the final rivalry we have is the Foundation and the Ice King. And these may be bosses next season. If you guys remember, prior to Chapter 7, Season 1, there was a leak of like kind of being able to play as a boss. And we saw that come to the game with like this season with Brutus and the Human Bill and Hush. But it was earlier leaked that you'd be able to play as the Ice King. And that may have been a leak for this season. It just happened long before this season actually started coming out. So when it comes to what we see for the fight between the Foundation and the Ice King, I don't know if these are actually going to be items in the game that everybody can use, or if it's going to be the kind of benefit of becoming them as a boss. Because we see the Foundation here use something that looks very similar to the Nitro Fist from Chapter 5, Season 3 Wrecked. This was a melee mobility item that was really good for mobility. It had an uppercut feature that would launch you into in the air like this. And then while in air, you could do essentially dashes or dive in the direction that you wanted, like that. He is the DMR once again. And then he runs up and tries to punch the Ice King, or get in here. That's the Rift gun once again. And the Ice King has these little ice blasts, which again may be his mythic item, or the benefit you get from playing as the Ice King is the ability to use these blasters. And then the Foundation is going to jump at him and punch him. And so a lot of people are taking that to mean that the Nitro Fists are back in the form of those Foundation gloves. And that very well may be true, but it also may be the case that it's his mythic ability, like I said, or the kind of item that you get from becoming him. Because if you've played as a boss so far this season, you know it takes an inventory slot, and then you can activate the ability. It might be his kind of activation thing once you become him, is that you get to have those gloves. Or they might just be something in the regular loot pool. As I said, we don't really know right this second, and it's hard to gauge things like that from a trailer. The Jules character... Oh, shoot, I muted the wrong thing. The Jules character on this screen is actually holding the new revolver, which looks kind of like the Mammoth pistol to me. It looks like a very like heavy revolver. But this will also be an item coming to the game during this season. And then the final thing we get to look at in the trailer is going to be one of the new collabs coming to the game, which I'm sure many people are going to be excited for. And that is going to be Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes coming to Chapter 7, Season 2. So that is a quick breakdown of everything you needed to know about this season. I'm interested to see how the rivalry system plays out. When Fortnite had bounties in the past, I feel like it was very poorly implemented. Coming from Warzone, if you got a bounty on somebody, once you got closer to them, the area that they were marked in would kind of shrink as you got closer and closer, as you narrowed down where they could be. But in Fortnite with bounties, the circle only got smaller as the time expired. So it didn't really help you find people that much faster. And I would like the rivalries to do a better job of that. Also at this time, we don't know if it's something that just kind of happens automatically, or if you need to opt into it. Like maybe you opt into a rivalry, another player opts into a rivalry, and then y'all get matched up. Or does somebody activate it and then you just get chosen as their rival? We don't really know that yet. And some of these loot pool additions are definitely going to be interesting. I'm excited to see how the Thunderburst plays out. I expect it to kind of be a step down from how it was in Chapter 5, but we'll have to see how it is once the season comes out. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.